Hello, thank you for joining me. So, looking at context engineering today. Um, so, this is a phrase first keyed up, from what I can tell, by Rasmus and Cole. So, here's their YouTube channels. Now, Rasmus started off with PRP agentic engineering, and then Cole has gone away and made his version of context engineering. Now, both are very similar. Both have got their own GitHubs. I'll leave links in the description below. Now, my project is my website for my website hosting company. Now, it's taken me a couple of months to get to this point where I am finally happy to try and put it into use. I've tried a few different iterations. I've had a couple of times where I've just used AI to try and build a complete website, just using context 7, sequential thinking, and a couple of other MCPs. Didn't work. That's why I learned about context engineering. And then I tried a different version of this context engineering where I didn't use a template, but for some reason, even though I put all the documentation in place, it still wouldn't build the design out properly. There was missing CSS, missing JavaScript, even though it's supposed to build it out. Now, I found a really nice template online. I'll put a link into the description to the theme I've found once I got it all up and running. Now, here is my initial MD file. So let's just preview it so you can see it nicer. Now, it goes through a lot, and I mean a lot of context engineering content about my company, what I want it to include. It's got a complete site map that I've managed to map out. It tells me, tells the AI systems simple bits of code that I want to use. It's got a couple of examples of all my pricing models, where to find all that from. It's got all the WCAG frameworks because I want it to be accessible at all times. Tells it to use ARIA labels, etc. Tells it what MCPs to use. So I'm going to be using Archon, which I'll explain a little bit more about in a minute. I'm using GitHub's MCPs, Context 7, a couple of other little bonds. Now, once you've got a nice initial document sorted out, I then went ahead and built my client rules. So this tells client exactly how to run, and it's a set of global rules that it has to follow on every prompt. It tells it to use Archon at all times. It tells it not to make things overcomplicated. It tells it how to do certain codes that are not explained in the initial document. Now, this is Archon. So it runs in Docker. It's a free project that's made by Cole. And in watching his videos about context engineering, I came across this. So when I execute the PRP eventually, it will put all the tasks into this area. Now, I can upload a knowledge base to this. At the moment, don't need to. I'm going to see how it will build my website, but if it does fail, I'm going to put all my business contacts in here, give it some understanding. Now, Archon links to Claude, links to client, etc., all via MCP configurations, so just insert these into where you need to. I've got it set up for Claude, Gemini, tried codecs, but it kept playing up, but I think that's codecs issues because I keep changing how MCPs are configured, and I'm mainly using Klein at the moment. Within the settings, it does give you your universal Claude Code rules, etc. I've modified them for Klein, but you could just use the universal ones if need be. You can set up your OpenAI and embedding models, and you can set which large language model you actually want to use. At the moment, I went ahead with OpenAI, happy with them. I do like the fact that you can use Grok, which they give you some free versions on there. But at the moment, like I say, I'm happy with OpenAI for what it's doing in this. And there's a lot of settings, and they have put a lot of effort into this Archon project. Now, going back to my project, I've gone ahead and built my Klein rules. I'm happy with it. Yes, there's a couple of markdown issues, but they're not critical to this build at the moment, so that's all okay. Now, once you've done that, you need to give it a workflow. So here's my one. I've taken a couple of workflows from both Rasmus and Cole. I've combined them into my own, and then I've asked Klein using Grok Code Fast to try sort of narrow it down to work with my system. We're at a point now that I think we should be able to put this into action and develop a perfect plan that will then go into being developed into the website. So set that up and running. I've set it so that it doesn't need to be in the plan mode. It's always shouldn't just execute in act mode, but it shouldn't cause any issues going forward. We'll let that run away. I will pause it now, come back to you, and then show you what it went through and what it's built. Okay, so there we are. One quick game of Call of Duty Mobile later. A couple of auto approves needed, and there we are. So it's read in the initial file, it's read a few extra files, it's then run a couple of tasks with MCP servers. It's pulled in the context for the accessibility guidelines. It's also pulled in information about schema, and yeah, there you go. So it's now generated the PRP full implementation. So we can now take a look at that properly. So let's put it into preview mode. It's given me a nice overview. Tells me what it's going to actually build. So don't know why it's saying I need 300 plus pages. It should only be about 150. So when it comes to building it, we'll find out whether it builds extra stuff that's not needed. It gives you a complete breakdown of everything that will need to be built, which then is, when you execute it, it's put into Archon, and it's kept an eye on during that. It gives you all the information. Yes, it's given me an implementation time frame at the bottom. I'm not going to use that. But as you can see, we're now ready to implement this execute plan, and it will build what I need to do. So I'm just going to pause it there. I'm going to go through this, make sure it's all accurate for what I need, and then if it is, we'll get on the way with building it. Okay, so I've just asked Klein to fix the amount of pages. I wasn't happy that it counted 300 when I've asked it itself to count, and it says between 150 and 160 pages. So, don't know what was going on there. However, might not even need that many pages, but at the moment, that's what it's saying. I know I need certain ones for like landing pages and things like that, but we will see. Once it's built, I can always slim the pages down, build more, build less, make changes. It's just a test really to see if this context engineering is good enough for building big websites out in a sort of a tiny manner. Um, Again, give me a couple of minutes. I'm just going to finalize the last bits of the code, and then we'll get on with building. Right, lovely. So I think we're at a point where we can now build this out. So I'm going to copy the execution command, and as always, as what Cole says in all of his videos and what Rasmus has said, we now start a complete new chat so that it's not the context windows at 0 anyway, but it's not um, got issues from the previous uh, chats and conversations in there which could conflict with what we're going forward. Now, just before we go into anything, um, I might have to pause, might have to go back and re-change things, um, but we'll take it from there. One thing I will do is literally just make sure that my source control and my Git versions are all up to date, synced, everything like that. So we are literally in a position to get going. So let's go and we'll start building. This will be the first time I've actually put this new plan into place, building out the website. So hopefully in a minute, once it starts to get going, we will see a new project being built in Archon with tasks that are all in number order. As long as that happens perfect, it should then literally just be a case of keeping an eye on the build. If it doesn't do that, we may have to take our first break in the project and fix it building this out. But as you can see, it's already tried to find within the Archon environment a project. It's not going to find it, so it will have to build it. Let's see if I can build this into a split screen so we can watch both happening at the moment. There we are. Perfect. So we've got a new project built within Archon, and it's going to start numbering them all. It's going to build out everything that was listed within the PRP. There we are. So phase 0.1, 0.2, and it's not supposed to go anywhere until it's built all these, and then eventually, once it's built them all out, it will work individually on them in number order. Now, I'm going to pause it there, let it all build out, and then we'll come back to it. So, seems like I had a bit of an issue. It only created 4 of the 17 steps, I think it was. And it turns out that I'd accidentally told it to create phases. So I've just been away, I've changed it up, and now made it so that they are all tasks and it's all one lot. So now I should be able to execute the task, and I'm going to do it again in a new chat, and it should create all of the tasks that I need. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to implement that, and we again can just keep an eye on everything and see how it builds. Shouldn't take too long. Going to go away, come back again, and hopefully I'll be able to show you the completed project. Right, so now this is where I've got to, and it becomes a problem. It might be that I'm using Klein, which might not be completing all the tasks, but I don't know. It's got to a point where it just seems to repeat no matter what you do. So I've started a new chat, told it to continue basically with the execute command. So it should, in theory, read the tasks. It should then develop the tasks that are not complete, and the ones that are complete just should leave. But if we look at this now, I've got task 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, another 0.3, another 0.2, another 0.2, 0.3. It just keeps repeating itself. So it's not truly looking through all this. I've got a 2.1 out of order 1.1, got a 1.3, 1.2, another 1.1 here, so it's already done that, but it's gone on again. So I'm going to have to conclude the video here. This is where I'm up to. I don't think this technique's going to work with Klein. I might have to look into one of the CLI programs, but I will get this video up, and I will also tag Cole and Rasmus in it and see if they can give me some ideas into how we can fix this. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.